So now that we've covered our phonics, let's look at some vocabulary for some of the things we might need during our lessons. If you're going to learn a lot and make lots of progress, it's a really good idea to have an exercise book for your lessons that you can write in. But what are you going to write with in that exercise book? Do you have a pen or a pencil? Make sure you remember those words. There might be a knowledge check coming up. Do you have a pen or a pencil? Or perhaps a crayon or an eraser? The crayon might allow us to write in nice colours. Crayon and eraser. Make sure we remember both of these: pen and pencil, crayon and eraser. Because now we need to name the two items of stationery on the screen. So pause and name those items. Okay, hopefully you said a pencil and an eraser. So let's move on. You might also need a ruler for drawing straight lines, or a glue stick for sticking things in to that little book. You might need a stapler, and if you've got a stapler, you'll need some staples. Make sure you're remembering all these. So we had a stapler and some staples there. So for our knowledge check, what are these two items? Pause and answer. Yes, we've got a ruler and a stapler. You might also need a hole punch or a pencil sharpener. Hole punch and pencil sharpener. Or some tape or whiteout to cover up mistakes. Tape and whiteout. You might also need a marker to show you what's important in your notes, or a calculator if there's any hard maths. So what two items do we have on the screen now? Pause and answer. Fantastic. Yes, we have a calculator and a pencil sharpener. Now, if you got those all right, fantastic. If you need to go back through it, please do now. Otherwise, we'll move on. Now, the final thing that we need to cover today is what your homework is to support you with getting ready for lesson 2. It's really important that you do your homework. Sometimes we'll use it to make sure you can remember everything from lesson 1, and sometimes we'll use your homework to get you ready for the next lesson. So take it very, very seriously. It will help you remember the things you need to remember and help you to have success in your next lesson. So for your homework for lesson 1, you need to use something called modal verbs. Now these are words, they're verbs which show that it's possible for us to do something or that we have to do it. So let's look at some examples. We're just going to use the first person plural for these. So we're going to use we every time. So our first modal verb is we can, and that means we are able to do something. It's okay for us to do it. Now the opposite of we can is we cannot or we can't. So with can't, we've taken out the O in that word. It's shortened. We can't, and that means it's something we're not able to do or that we are not meant to do. It's not good for us to do it. Then we also have we must, and these are things that we have to do. We'll see some examples in a moment. And of course, the opposite of we must is we mustn't. Things that we really, really shouldn't do. So let's see some examples then. So we can means it is okay for us to do. For example, we can speak English in class. In fact, it's very important that we practice our English in class. We can't, it is not okay for us to do. For example, we can't sleep in class. Make sure there's no sleeping going on. We cannot do that. We must is very strong. These are things we have to do. An example of that would be we must listen carefully. We must do that or we won't learn. And then we mustn't is of course the opposite of that. So things that we really must not do, we must never do them. We mustn't use our phone in class, for example, or we won't learn. So for your homework, you'll see on the screen a table appearing. And what I want you to do is set a little rule for our online classroom using each of those modal verbs. And you'll see I've done the first one for you. We can speak English in class. We can speak in English in class. So go through each of those, coming up with your own rule that you're going to follow. Maybe it could be to do with homework. Now that brings us to the end of lesson 1. So well done for all your fantastic work. Make sure you try all these new parts of conversation in your daily life. Ask your friends how they are. See if you can find out if anyone has any brothers or sisters, and keep practicing those new phrases that you have. Well done today, and I look forward to seeing you for lesson 2.